I understand you have a great story about PVGC's beginning. Could you tell us when that was and what you remember of this story?
I have a hearsay story. My dad started playing here in 1929. So during the Depression and during the war, there was a hardcore group of about 50 guys between San Pedro, Manhattan Beach, and here that played golf here. And they pretty much kept the doors open. If you look through the records of like the Homes Association, there was a guy who bought a lot, which the Homes Association characterized as one of the cheap lots in Palos Verdes, so that he could save the difference between the greens fee for a resident and a non-resident, and the lot paid for itself.
Wow. Excellent.
What happened in 1946 to change things, the war was over, things were getting busier, and when the weather was nice, they would get people from all over LA. My dad used to call it the Western Avenue overflow. And the course would get crowded and backed up, and these guys were spoiled, not spoiled, but they weren't fond of it. So one day, two different foursomes teed off, and when they got to number 4 tee, there were 4 other outside groups on the tee. So you had 6 groups waiting to play number 4. Those 8 guys were disgusted, and so they walked back into the clubhouse, which on a Saturday, they came to play golf. And they undoubtedly had a few drinks, knowing the group, and they came up with the idea that they want to form a club, and what they wanted was priority tee times. And so, later, very quickly developed, they wanted to be able to have an invitational too. Invitationals were big in Southern California at that time. So they went to Bud Oakley and they told Bud, we want the priority times. And he said, fine. He said, if you guys can get 250 people that will pay $5 a month, I will give you priority times. Of course, they still had to pay the green fee, but they had the times. And they organized, they went to, the quote I always got, we went to everybody we knew who played golf between San Pedro and Manhattan Beach. We couldn't come up with 250.
Wow.
But when they got to 200, they went to Bud, and he did it anyway, which shows you one of the many reasons why Bud Oakley is a saint around here.
Right.
So most of those guys are like, if you look at the first presidents of the club, all those guys were among that 8. And they put it together and paid them that, and then in a very short time, they adopted a conventional dues structure, a more conventional one, and made it a real club within like 3 or 4 years.
Well, thanks, Sid. Appreciate your comments and your long history here at PVGC.
Okay, you're welcome.